Good evening, and welcome to our Tennebrae service. Tennebrae means into darkness, and the purpose of this service is to remember the ancient story that before the joy of Easter morning, whether it is the awakening of spring or the resurrection of Jesus and his community, before that time was very, very dark and full of fear and despair and a lack of hope. And the Easter story makes so much more sense when we participate in that road, that path of darkness before the joy of Easter morning, so it is not taken for granted. So tonight we're going to take ourselves through this story of the last night and day of Jesus' life with reflections of modern blessings for a hurting world by Jan Richardson. My readers tonight are Aggie Brennan and Neil Harmon, and Neil is doing double duty also as our worship tech person. So I invite us just to center ourselves, whether you are here in the sanctuary with us or with us from your home or wherever you are, as we walk through this ancient story and modern blessing. We begin in the upper room in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 14, verses 22 through 25. While the disciples were eating, Jesus took a loaf of bread, and after blessing it, he broke it and gave it to them and said, "Take, this is my body." Then he took a cup, and after giving thanks, he gave it to them, and all of them drank from it, and he said to them, "This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for the many."
Modern witness, blessing the bread, the cup. Let us bless the bread that gives itself to us with its terrible weight, its infinite grace. Let us bless the cup poured out for us with the love that makes us anew. Let us gather around these gifts simply given and deeply blessed. And then let us go bearing the bread, carrying the cup, laying the table within a hungering world.
Now we do ancient witness in the garden. They went to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I pray." He took with him Peter and James and John and began to be distressed and agitated. And he said to them, "I am deeply grieved, even to death. Remain here and keep awake." And going a little farther, he threw himself on the ground and prayed that if it were possible, the hour might pass from him. He said, "Abba, Father, for you all things are possible. Remove this cup from me. Yet, not what I want, but what you want." He came and found them sleeping, and he said to Peter, "Simon, are you asleep? Could you not keep awake 1 hour? Keep awake and pray that you may not come into the time of trial. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." And again he went away and prayed, saying the same words. And once more he came and found them sleeping, for their eyes were very heavy, and they did not know what to say to him.
Blessing for staying awake. Even in slumber, even in dreaming, even in sorrow, even in pain. Awake, 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 my soul, to the one who keeps vigil at all times for you.
The betrayal, ancient witness, Mark 14, verses 43 to 50. Immediately, while he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived, and with him there was a crowd with swords and clubs, from the chief priests, the scribes, and the elders. Now the betrayer had given them a sign saying, "The one I will kiss is the man. Arrest him and lead him away under guard." So when he came, he went up to him at once and said, "Rabbi," and kissed him. Then they laid hands on him and arrested him. But one of those who stood near drew his sword and struck the slave of the high priest, cutting off his ear. Then Jesus said to them, "Have you come out with swords and clubs to arrest me, as though I were a bandit? Day after day I was with you in the temple teaching, and you did not arrest me. But let the scriptures be fulfilled." All of them deserted him and fled.
Ancient witness, the trial. As soon as it was morning, the chief priests held a consultation with the elders and scribes and the whole council. They bound Jesus, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate. Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" He answered him, "You say so." Then the chief priests accused him of many things. Pilate asked him again, "Have you no answer? See how many charges they bring against you." But Jesus made no further reply, so that Pilate was amazed. Pilate spoke to them again. "What do you wish me to do with the man you call the King of the Jews?" They shouted back, "Crucify him." Pilate asked them, "Why? What evil has he done?" But they shouted all the more, "Crucify him." So Pilate, wishing to satisfy the crowd, released Barabbas for them, and after flogging Jesus, he handed him over to be crucified.
Blessing the chaos. To all that is chaotic in you, let there come silence. Let there be a calming of the clamoring, a stilling of the voices that have laid their claim on you, that have made their home in you, that go with you even to the holy places, but will not let you rest, will not let you hear your life with wholeness or feel the grace that fashioned you. Let what distracts you cease. Let what divides you cease. Let there come an end to what diminishes and demeans, and let depart all that keeps you in its cage. Let there be an opening into the quiet that lies beneath the chaos, where you find the peace you did not think possible, and see what shimmers within the storm. I'd like to invite us to sing hymn 1044 in the teal hymnal, the paperback hymnal. Eli, Eli. We'll only sing the English.
The last day, crucifixion, the first candle. Ancient witness, Mark 15, verses 22 to 24. Then they brought Jesus to the place called Golgotha, which means the place of a skull. And they offered him wine mixed with myrrh, but he did not take it. And they crucified him and divided his clothes among them, casting lots to decide what each should take.
Modern witness, blessing in a time of violence. Which is to say, this blessing is always. Which is to say, there is no place that this blessing does not long to cry out in lament, to weep its words in sorrow, to scream its lines in sacred rage. Which is to say, there is no day this blessing ceases to whisper into the ear of the dying, the despairing, the terrified. Which is to say, there is no moment this blessing refuses to sing itself into the heart of the hated and the hateful, the victim and the victimizer, with every last ounce of hope it has. We have a response.
So we can join in congregational response. There is a volunteer meeting. If we do not have an order of service, 10:45 is the order. Ancient witness, Mark chapter 15, 25 to 30. It was 9 o'clock in the morning when they crucified him. The inscription of the charge against him read, "The King of the Jews." And with him they crucified two bandits, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by derided him, shaking their heads, saying, "Aha! You who would destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself and come down from that cross."
Modern witness, blessing in a time of violence, part 2. Which is to say, there is none that can stop it, none that can halt its course, none that can still its cadence, none that will delay its rising, none that will keep it from springing forth from the mouths of us who hope, from the hearts of us who love, from the feet of us who will not cease our stubborn marching, 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 until this blessing has spoken its final word, until this blessing has breathed its benediction in every place, in every tongue. Peace, peace, peace.
Ancient witness. When it was noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. At 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, "Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you forsaken me?"
Modern witness, in the breath, another breathing. Let it be that on this day we will expect no more of ourselves than to keep breathing with the bewildered cadence of lungs that will not give up the ghost. Let it be we will expect little but the beating of our heart, stubborn in its repeating rhythm that will not cease to sound. Let it be we will still ourselves enough to hear what might yet come to echo, as if in the breath, another breathing, as if in the heartbeat, another heart. Let it be we will not try to fathom what comes to meet us in the stillness, but simply open to the approach of a mystery we hardly dared to dream.
Mark 15:35-36. When some of the bystanders heard it, they said, "Listen, he's calling for Elijah." And someone ran, filled a sponge with sour wine, put it on a stick, and gave it to him to drink, saying, "Wait, let us see whether Elijah will come to take him down."
Modern witness, what abides for Good Friday? You will know this blessing by how it does not stay still, by the way it refuses to rest in one place. You will recognize it by how it takes first one form and then another. Now running down the face of the mother who watches the breaking of the child she has borne. Now in the stance of the woman who followed him here and will not leave him bereft. Now it twists in anguish on the mouth of the friend whom he loved. Now it bears itself in the wound, the cry, the finishing, and the final breath. This blessing is not in any one of these alone. It is what binds them together. It is what dwells in the space between them, though it be torn and gaping. It is what abides in the tear the rending makes.
Then Jesus gave a loud cry and breathed his last.
Ancient witness, Mark chapter 15, 38 to 39. And the curtain of the temple was torn in two, from top to bottom. Now when the centurion who stood facing him saw that in this way he breathed his last, he said, "Truly, this man was God's son."
Modern witness for Good Friday. Still. This day, let all stand still in silence, in sorrow. Sun and moon, be still. Earth, be still. Still the waters. Still the wind. Let the ground gape in stunned lamentation. Let it weep as it receives what it thinks it will not give up. Let it groan as it gathers the one who was thought forever stilled. Time, be still. Watch and wait.
Mark 15:40 through 41. There were also women looking on from a distance. Among them were Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James, the younger, and of Joseph, and Salome. These used to follow him and provided for him when he was in Galilee. And there were many other women who had come up with him from Jerusalem.
Modern witness, therefore, I will hope. I have no cause to linger beside this place of death, no reason to keep vigil where life has left. And yet, I cannot go, cannot bring myself to cleave myself from here. Can only pray that this waiting might yet be a blessing, and this grieving yet a blessing, and this stone yet a blessing, and this silence yet a blessing still.